Hey everyone, this is Max at Yoko Co, and I wanted to take a minute to introduce you to Gutenberg, the new content editor coming in WordPress 5.0. Gutenberg is basically an overhaul of the classic WordPress editor, and it's a bit more powerful, and it gives you access to some cool new features. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to switch over to my demo site here, which is running Gutenberg, and I'm going to go ahead and open up a page. And here it is. You can see things might look a little different than you're used to. However, if we take a second to look around, we can see the overall layout is still pretty similar to how it's always been. So our page title and content editor are over here. We'll come back to them in a second. Over in the top right, we have our publishing and previewing and draft saving options. And then we also have our status and visibility options. We can change our date, our author, move stuff to the trash. We can also change our permalink, which is the page URL, or set a featured image. And there are a few other standard things over here as well. Scrolling down, we can see that we've got access to all of our SEO tools. And then below that, any custom fields or options associated with this particular piece of content. But for now, let's go ahead and jump back up to the main content editor. So this is Gutenberg. And to start off, I'll show you I can edit this content like I normally would. I can click and type a sentence here. I can also use my normal formatting tools up here. And if we want, I can hit preview and we can see what this page looks like on the front end. Basically what we'd expect. So I'm going to switch back, and here's where it gets interesting. You might have noticed there are a few extra options here as well. There's an icon to add an image or a heading, but also this plus sign, which I will click to open up. And you can see this gives us access to a bunch of other things as well. In WordPress, these are called blocks, and I won't run through all of them right here. We can do that at another time, but I'll just show you a quick example of the power of Gutenberg. And you can see, actually, if I scroll up through here, there are a bunch of different options and blocks available here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab this columns option, and I'm going to create two columns here at the bottom of my content. And if I want, I can click and I can add text, or if I want instead, I can go ahead and back out of that and I click this plus symbol here, and I could add an image instead. So I can go ahead and I can choose an image, and we'll put that guy up there, and I could add another image here as well. And I'll go ahead and I'll choose another one from my media library. Oh, I chose the same image. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy, and I'm going to click back in here, and I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to choose another image, and this time I'll choose the different image. And I'll save, and now I have two columns here side by side. So pretty easy. We can go ahead and we can hit preview, and we can see what it looks like on the front end. We've got all of our content, and then we've got our two images side by side, just like we'd expect. So let's go ahead and switch back to our editor here. So as I mentioned, there are a ton of other blocks available, which you can experiment with. We can see them all hidden in here. And if you do want to play around, I would suggest maybe not experimenting on a live page, so use a draft or a staging site or something. But for those of you running the Beaver Builder page builder on your site, I want to show you one block in particular, and that is the Beaver Builder block. So I'm going to go ahead and click and add it to the page, and once I do that, it's smart enough to prompt us to switch to Beaver Builder mode. Basically, Gutenberg and Beaver Builder can exist in harmony, but you can't really use them simultaneously. So I'm going to go ahead and click to open up Beaver Builder, and it takes a second to convert the page. And now that I've done that, you can see that I basically have access to all of my normal Beaver Builder tools over here. And if I want, I could go ahead and just build out my page like normal. If I want to add a text block, for example, I can do that. And in Beaver Builder, I basically get the normal text block that we're used to, and I can duplicate and I can do all that good stuff. I can drag around. Everything works the same way that it always has. Now, my Gutenberg layout, you can see, is also still here, but it's going to be a bit harder to edit now that I've converted the page. So generally speaking, when you create a new page, you can keep your life simple by deciding off the bat which editor you want to use. And all of this is still editable, but once I open it up, you can see that it's all in this text block, just sort of in a normal column. And if I switch over to our HTML editor, you can see that WordPress has added a bunch of HTML. So unless you want to poke around through this and have to deal with changing things here, you're going to be best off just deciding right away if you want this to be a Gutenberg page or a standard page, or if you want it to be a Beaver Builder based page. Basically, if you need a highly visual layout with full width rows and multimedia elements and that kind of stuff, you should probably go with Beaver Builder. Otherwise, you might be good to stick with Gutenberg or even the classic WordPress editor. So speaking of the classic WordPress editor, I'm going to go ahead and X out of this here. And I'm going to go back to my dashboard and go back to my page list. And now that I've done that, if I hover over any item, you can actually see there's a new option here called Classic Editor. And if I click that, my page will actually open up with the traditional basic WordPress editor. So none of this Gutenberg stuff, just keeping things simple. If you'd rather not worry about Gutenberg for now, this is always an option. So keep that in mind. And if you really like to keep things simple, if you're one of our hosting and maintenance clients, you can reach out to us and we can disable Gutenberg entirely for you. Anyway, that pretty much wraps things up for now. You'll likely see Gutenberg rolling out to your website sometime in December 2018, and we will be publishing some more in-depth resources soon. But feel free to reach out with any questions in the meantime. That's all for now. We will talk to you soon. Thanks.